All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, Rich Cimini of ESPN just released an article early this morning. Of course, I'll leave it linked down below in the description box. But anyway, the first part of that article was basically talking about former players talking about Aaron Glenn. And of course, this is coming after the whole Aaron Rodgers, Pat McAfee show debacle where he shared his side of the story on what happened between him and Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji and that whole situation where the Jets said, hey, we're going to be moving in a different direction. But as far as some of my favorite players in Jets history go, Rich Cimini has a couple of sweet quotes, right, in regards to AG. So let's dive into them. There's 4 quotes here from 4 former Jet players. The first is from Chad Pennington, one of my all-time favorites, if not my favorite player. He says, with Aaron Glenn, he's going to do it a way he believes in. I think that's one of his strong points. That's what made him a great defensive back. He had a great way of doing things, and he's a true professional. So it doesn't surprise me that it correlates to him being a coach as well. Former Jets tight end Anthony Beck said, Glenn has transformed the Jets into a quote-unquote tight ship. He's going to make sure they weed out anything that shouldn't be around to keep it very tight inside, so that only the players and coaches uniformly come together for the single purpose of turning that organization around. Man, I love that quote, right? I love that quote. One of the biggest things that I felt like Jets fans were clamoring for in their next head coach, it wasn't, we need to go get the next offensive mind. We need to go get the best quarterback whisperer. We need to go get a defensive guy. No, it's we need someone who's not going to be scared of the job. We need someone who wants the job, and we need to hire the best leader. We need to hire the best culture builder, culture changer. And so far, it seems like Aaron Glenn was that top choice as far as being able to kind of flip the mentality, flip the script on the rest of the NFL and say, hey, we're not getting bullied anymore. We're turning this thing around. John Abraham said he's going to have the players different, man. I just hope they give him time to build this team. And then Sean Ellis said, my memories of him are coming into the locker room, always seeing him smiling and laughing and joking. But when it came to meeting rooms, he was on his stuff. He knew exactly what to do. Seeing him in coaching, I'm not surprised at all. And again, putting Aaron Glenn aside, right? If these quotes were just about, leader types of head coaches, that is like, to me, what the Jets need. We have to have a different mentality next season. Like it can't just be so down and out if we lose a game, and then if we win a game, oh, we're Super Bowl favorites. The rest of the NFL has to be put on notice, and we have to talk about it every single day for a week, and everyone's, it's just like this throw parade. We win, throw a parade, we lose, the team is horrible, cut everybody, and, blow the entire operation up. That is, I just want that steady approach, that hardworking, humble, head down, scratch and claw for victories. You know what, we're going to fight you whistle to whistle, snap to snap, quarter to quarter, from start to finish. And I think we saw a lot of that with the Detroit Lions defense last year. Despite adversity thrown their way, despite injuries, big names Hutchinson goes down. They were still finding ways to make it happen. Was it perfect? No. Was the defense, this elite group? No. But it really felt like there was 100% buy-in from not only just the players that Aaron Glenn was coaching, but also the coaches around him. It never really felt like the Lions wavered, especially in that first year too, where the defense was a mess, and a lot of people could have looked to Aaron Glenn and said, "Fire Aaron, fire him. The defense isn't good." But the Lions stuck with it, and then of course, he started to mold the defense into more so the system that he wanted to run, as opposed to, more so kind of coaching a similar system to what Matt Patricia did, because the players were kind of built that way. But anyway, the point is, when you have this amount of people in your corner talking about how much of a leader you are, talking about how much the vibe, the energy inside the building is going to change, that is a really, really good thing. We did not hear those leadership qualities about Adam Gase. We didn't hear those leadership qualities about Robert Saleh. With Saleh, because I felt like we were, leaving the Gase era and transitioning into the Saleh era, I was expecting energy, this kind of reignited passion for the Jets with a lot of different people within the building. It just felt like all the losing with Adam Gase. I mean, even losing and missing the playoffs with Todd Bowles, at the end of that era, But to go from Gase to Saleh, it's just like, hey man, this guy, he loves his players. He's a players coach. He's getting fired up for him on the sidelines, flexing, getting pumped up when his guys are getting sacks or getting in the backfield, disrupting plays, getting picks. Dude's like freaking out. And like you're seeing that as a fan, you're like, man, I want that. Again, coming from the Gase era. And you're seeing someone who in press conferences was like super passionate and just felt like, man, like he loved just the position that he was in and he loved his guys, and it is what it is. But Kyle Shanahan was the leader. When he got to the Jets, I felt like that kind of disappeared. And it was like a more toned down, a quieted down Robert Saleh. And it just felt very like, hey, you know what? I got to be a head coach now. Head coaches don't typically act like this. And, I'm going to allow the coordinators to do their jobs, and I'm just going to kind of, oversee the operation. And then people started talking about it like midway through that year. And then he started to have those like, energetic moments on the sidelines. And then from that point, you're like, okay, like, why is this coming out all of a sudden? Is this genuine? It felt very odd. And with Aaron Glenn, it feels very genuine, right? Chad Pennington's not going to come out and say this. Sean Ellis, Anthony Becht, Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, all these great coaches, all these, former players and teammates, everyone is talking so much about Glenn as a person. Glenn is kind of that, guy to spearhead your organization. Like, we're going to turn this thing around. That is the right guy to do it. I really like that. And who knows how this whole thing is going to play out. Jets, with wins, losses, we haven't even seen a single practice yet, right? Although minicamp is right around the corner. But if the culture changes, if that maybe humble, hardworking approach is implemented and it trickles down to the players, I think this team is going to be such a fun watch next year, right? Despite the wins and losses, I think we're really going to see a team that is just, again, scratching and clawing to find ways to win, right? No one taking plays off, no one mailing it in, no one just, I'm a corner on this side of the field and the play's going to the left and I'm over here on the right and I'm just going to, it's not coming my way. I'm good. I'm ready for the next play. Stuff like that, right? I don't think we're going to see that. I think there's going to be this different type of approach, which I'm really excited for. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Happy Easter. And as always, go Jets.